schoolers are just now getting into a stage of their life where they are having stress, real stress. They're kind of in between childhood and adulthood. And so they're just getting a taste of stress. It's going to be much worse when you get to college. So if you can learn how to deal with stress while you're in high school, in this type of an environment, then it's going to be better off for you.
I think that some of the main causes for stress, if I had to kind of put it in a nutshell, would be academics, just personal issues, sometimes self-esteem, things that they might be experiencing in their home presently, or things that they could have experienced in the past that have kind of gone unresolved, and just dealing with the expectations that people around them may have.
High school is stressful to me because of the hours that we're here. We have to get up so early, and the amount of homework I have each week.
The thing that you can do to deal with stress is to make sure that you identify your stressors. So, for example, you may think that you have a paper due and that's the source of your stress, but actually what's stressing you out is that you procrastinated on that paper. And so if you identify the stressor as the procrastination instead of the paper, then next time that you have a paper due, you can not procrastinate on that next assignment, and then that would reduce your stress.
Those open, honest conversations with the adults in your life too, I think is one really big step. It kind of minimizing the stress that comes, the academic stress.
You have to do a lot of work, and it's not very fun.
Well, waking up early in the morning is pretty dang awful. Then having to get up and think right in the morning and do some work is pretty hard, you know.
I don't talk to them. I don't talk to students. They make me stressed.
The best thing you can do is to plan and prepare. I know your teachers have been preaching this to you over and over and over again, but use the technology that you guys have. Y'all are great on devices and y'all have your iPads now. Don't wait until the last minute to get things done.
I have very many mental breakdowns because of high school stress. Like per week, 2 or 3.
You know, I'm not that emotionally unstable.
Some other tools that I think are really useful for helping students manage stress a lot better. One is mindfulness. I know some people practice yoga or do some type of meditation, and we're hearing more and more about mindfulness and how it can really benefit people who are struggling with like stress and anxiety.
I don't handle my stress very well. I try and take breaks every once in a while and just I don't sit on my phone or something.
I lift weights.
I just eat. I don't really handle it.
The time of school, 7 o'clock, that's BS.
If I could change something, it would probably be dress codes. The way how I dress is not very comfortable.
Pushing school back an hour, maybe to 8 o'clock, because these little kids have more energy than us.
I mean, I would like to have less homework, but I don't think I can change that.
The thing that we can do is to continue to ask if you guys have questions, open up that conversation, and how's it going? If we see that grades starting to drop, what's going on? I know that's something I do for my students is if I see a change in their grade patterns, then I'll be like, hey, what's going on? Is there something going on in your life that I can help you with, or you're not understanding? And so we can just kind of seek more information from our students about what's going on.
I would encourage students who are kind of dealing with that type of stress is to, have open, honest conversations with your parents about, how those things make you feel, what you feel like you're capable of doing and what they can do to help you to become better, but to also set some realistic expectations as well.
I think high school is worth it because it sets you up for a good career, or if you're going to college, it just helps better prepare you for life.
Because I don't want to fail life, and you're getting an education to possibly get you a good career one day.
Worth it because at the end of the day, you're going to do something good with your life, and one day it'll turn out well.
And we're hearing more and more about mindfulness and how it can really benefit people who are struggling with stress and anxiety. And I did a lot of research earlier this year on some evidence-based programs that really do help people to minimize their stress levels and their anxiety. And one of those is a book called A Still Quiet Place. It's a workbook that's designed specifically for teens, and I've spoken with Mr. Duncan, and next year we're hoping to implement some 6-week sessions where students can come in and work with me in small groups on this curriculum to teach them some hands-on tools and strategies about how to really minimize their stress levels and their anxiety. And the workbook would be, for the student to keep so that it's something they could go back and kind of reference as situations occur. So I think definitely learning and practicing mindfulness is a huge asset to someone who's kind of seeking to minimize their stress. I also think that having a hobby, something as simple as recognizing what it is that you enjoy that brings you peace, that brings you happiness. A lot of times when we're hyper focused on, making good grades and doing well in our, with athletics, extracurricular things, and still managing and balancing time with friends and responsibilities with your family. I think that we sometimes forget how to have fun. So just maybe taking some time out, taking a break from all of those things to do something that you truly enjoy. If you don't have a hobby, maybe take some time and learn a new hobby. I think that that's also something that can help with coping and managing stress. And then last but not least, and probably one of the most powerful tools, is communication. I mentioned earlier the importance of talking to your family, but sometimes I know that talking to your parents about things that stress you out is not the easiest thing to do. I would encourage any high school student to find an adult that you trust, whether it's a teacher, a mentor, a coach, your school counselor, me, because I am here at the high school to meet with students as well. Just find someone that you trust, because the worst thing that I can imagine is that there's a student who's walking around and feeling so overwhelmed, so stressed that they are at a point where they just feel helpless and they start to consider things that could potentially harm them. It has been identified as one of the #1 causes for adolescents, I should say, having suicidal ideations and ending up having to seek treatment in a health facility. These are 2 books that I use with students sometimes. This first one I'm really excited about it because next year I will be able to have groups with students where we're working in small groups of maybe 6 students at a time for like a 6-week period, and kind of really working through this book together to learn, for me to teach and for students to learn these skills. This first one is called A Still Quiet Place for Teens, and as it says here, it teaches mindfulness to students to help find focus, face challenges, improve relationships, and live a happier life. Students, when they work with me, will be able to kind of go through some of the reflective exercises, but then there are also some areas of this where we teach skills, because that's ultimately what we want to do. We want to teach coping skills so that students will know how to manage the stress that comes into their life and just have some resources that they can really rely on as situations occur. So this is one that I'm really excited about being able to do next year. And the second book, it's a self-care A through Z adult coloring book. And although it says adult coloring book, I found that it's been helpful for some of my high school students that I work with. Sometimes, when we're really stressed about something and we're looking for just a way to take a brain break, get our minds off of whatever we're facing at that particular moment, creative expression is great. So I know we have lots of creative students at the schools. Maybe you're into band or, singing or art. No matter what your skill level is in these things, I feel like everyone can color. And so the neat thing about this particular book is that in addition to having a coloring sheet that has these nice intricate designs, there's a quote that goes along with it. So for the letter A, it talks about appreciation. So the idea is that as you're coloring, you're also reading whatever that word is for the day and the brief description. So here for appreciation, it says, appreciation is the foundation of self-care. When you learn to appreciate the things you currently have in life, you'll realize just how rich you are. And so the idea is that as you're coloring, you're kind of meditating on that particular phrase and thinking about how, appreciation functions in your life. What are some of the things that you appreciate? Who are some of the people that you appreciate? And it just kind of does that for each letter.